All right, Oval fans, here we are with the review for Season 2, Episode 4, entitled The Fencer. I give it an 8 out of 10. If you watched the live stream last night, you know why. It was a pretty decent episode, but I do feel it did drag on in certain places. I don't know. I know I said last week was the quote-unquote weakest of the season so far, but at the same time, it's like both of these episodes didn't really go anywhere, but at the same time there was a lot of setup and some mysteries potentially solved. And you know, I'm going to make this comparison again, but it felt like WandaVision to an extent, seeing characters asking the same questions fans have been asking. Like I said, if you watch WandaVision, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when Jimmy, Darcy, and Monica were literally breaking stuff down, asking the same questions fans speculated about week to week. So before going any further in the video, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like it, hit subscribe, click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in that description box below. And again, make sure you subscribe because I'm trying to get the percentage up for the amount of subscribers who watch my content. I think we're around like 26% now, trying to hit at least 35 or 40% by the end of the month. So again, subscribe, hit the bell icon and select all, and make sure you check back on the channel periodically. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content. So, The Fencer. We pretty much, kind of replay the last couple moments of the previous episode where, Hunter is trying to, get his bearings and figure out how to get this body in the box while Victoria is, tossing clothes out of the box. I mean, this kind of shows me why the cliffhanger endings feel a bit rushed sometimes. I feel like last week's episode really tried to cram too much in, where it's like, you got the Ellie and Alan thing, but then at the very end of the episode, that's when the sword is found. So then they replay that exact scene at the beginning of the episode where the sword is brought out. And yes, for those speculating, yes, the sword did have blood and hair on it, but it was hard for me to even identify that at the ending of the last episode because of how Victoria was holding the hilt with her fingers. So the sword was pointed down. So the part of the sword that would have been bloody and covered in hair wasn't able to be seen by me. But obviously last night from the different angles, yes, that is the same sword. Hunter is just in denial about the same thing. It's like, I mean, there's a dead body under your son's bed, and there's a bloody sword in the box, but there's no way Jason did this. This sword was inscribed by my father because this was a gift to you, dumbass. And this was the one that killed Denise. And Hunter said exactly what I've been saying for months, if not over. Wait, I don't want to say over a year. It hasn't been over a year, but something I've been saying for months now, and that's the fact that there's no way Jason killed Denise because he left for lunch with you, your mother, and Gail. Now, you're probably wondering, well, Jeremy, how do you feel about the bathroom explanation? I feel some kind of way about it. I mean, remember in the haves and the have-nots when Wyatt shot Jim and Catherine, and then we had to wait 6 months. And then when the show finally came back, oh, well, he shot at me and I fell into the water and I kept bobbing up for air until I heard the police coming. That was a very, very half-assed answer. And now we're kind of in the same situation because Denise, I know, has been killed more than 6 months ago. So in a way, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, but Denise got killed during the mid-season of the Oval Season 1. So it's been, hang on, let me check. That was episode 12, Hidden Secrets, January 2020. Yeah, January 22nd, 20. Yeah, it's been over a year since Denise was murdered. So I'm not exactly too thrilled. So you're probably, well, Jeremy, remember in one of your recent videos, the one you did about the sword last week, you mentioned if there was any sort of explanation, Tyler might say something along the lines of they turned around, he had to go to the bathroom. I did say that. But at the same time, I just don't like the explanation because if we had seen just Jason saying, oh, can I use your bathroom? Can we turn around? Somebody in the live stream last night is, well, Jeremy, think of it this way. He is the first son and whatnot. And it's possible that they turned around to go directly back to the White House because they were so close. And due to the fact that they can't just go to any old restroom. Kind of like when Victoria went to the boutique. There was Secret Service everywhere, so they had to make sure security measures were in place. So that's why they turned around. Okay, now the other question is, well, Kyle was outside of the door. How did he not see Jason go in there? Security footage from season 1 did show that Kyle was indeed standing outside of the door the entire time. I will admit he is a slime ball and a snake, but when he walked into that room and saw all the blood and whatnot, he was genuinely surprised. He literally was shocked at what had happened. And you're probably wondering, well, again, Jeremy, what about Jason? Season 1, I forgot the exact episode, but in season 1, he actually got into Gail's room through her bathroom. Yes, Gail was sitting in her room on her computer or whatever, and Jason popped up out of the bathroom. I don't know how he did it, if there was secret passageway, if he's climbed through the toilet, but he did it. This dude knows the White House inside and out. Remember, there was a time where he got to the roof of the White House and he told Jean, oh yeah, I saw your car with my binoculars. And, he found his way up there. And he knows the way. Jason knows the way. If there was a secret way into the residency of his parents, the president and first lady's room, he would have found it. Also, wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some sort of secret passageway in the case of emergency. So yes, Jason could have found his way into that room. Now, it is interesting because of what kind of events transpired, because in episode 12, we saw Hunter literally just get up from the bed. He's talking to the niece. He's I guess you could say, washing himself off. He's still talking. And then when he goes right back out, he picks up her head and boom, she's dead. So I don't know if Jason went in there to try to have sex and she said no, but because it makes no sense. If you go back to that scene, there was no noise. It was just, background music and Hunter talking. But then again, he was high. So it's kind of maybe time, and I don't want to get all timey-wimey here, but maybe what seemed like a few seconds to Hunter was, I don't know, 3-10 minutes. I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm not going to break my brain trying to explain it because, well, they told us what happened. It just doesn't make a lick of sense. And I know we're almost 8 minutes into the video and I've only talked about the first scene, but Hunter and Victoria just putting it together. Hey, this is the same sword that my dad gave you. It has the blood and hair of that whore on it. Jason wanted to turn around and, there we go. So that's the first scene. All right. And also she mentions the fact that he went to fencing when he was younger. He didn't do, samurai katana training. But again, this dude is a nut job. He could figure it out. All right, so we go back to the log cabin. Bobby is, I know I tweeted this out as a joke, but seriously, somebody give Bobby some water. I know there's no air conditioning at this cabin and whatnot, but the dude is just drenched in every single scene. All right, so Max finished eating and Diane is asking questions about the whole thing. Is I know you didn't kill Yuma or that girl Denise, but I need to know what happened. And then Max doesn't think anybody's plan is going to work due to the administration being so tactical. Anything they do will be something that could be used again. Well, no, anytime if they try to expose anything, it will just end up with all of them being killed. And I just love Lily's face throughout this entire scene because it's Diane being the good cop, Bobby being the bad cop, Max being interrogated, and Lily sitting there I did not sign up for any of this. So it gets to the point where the bloody mattress is gone. The mattress that was in the Hunter and Victoria's bedroom because Kyle put it in the vehicle Max had and set it on fire. So I think Diane said it's just burnt springs and whatnot, but Max did say that he cut off part of the pillow, so he does have a slight bit of evidence that could be used in order to help their case. So they said they'd reconvene the next morning because it's been a long night. Everybody needs to get some rest. So then we go to the next scene of Barry and Sharon once again going back and forth about this damn money, and she decides to just sleep on the couch because she's had enough of Barry's shenanigans. Nancy tries to go into the house, but the doors are locked, and Jody, the nosy neighbor, it reminds me of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. Rosie the nosy neighbor, what's she gonna do with that spatula? But yeah, she's just nosy as hell, and she just wants to stand there to make sure Nancy gets into the house all right. And, she's asking all kinds of questions about, did you hear about the first lady? Her mother died. And hey, tell Richard that, tell the first lady we praying for and everything. So, Nancy just trying to get in the house like, Richard's coming. Well, it's taking him a while to get on down there. Do you need me to call him? No, he's coming. I was like, oh, no, it's Sharon. Sharon's coming in. And then Sharon opens the door. Oh, hey, Miss Jody. Hey, Sharon, girl. You back over there again? It's just, you hate people like Jody, but I love Jody because I feel like we all know people like that. Just the older person who don't give a damn. But in any case, Richard is upstairs asleep, and she kind of has a brief powwow with Sharon. Sharon talks about the whole roof situation. However, there's no news on Callie. And she tells Nancy that, Barry's upstairs, but I'm just going to be on the couch. Like, I don't even want to get into it. Okay. So then Nancy goes upstairs, and Richard's bedroom is locked. And to be honest, I think I mentioned this before. I do the same thing in my apartment. Like, my bedroom door, when I'm asleep, it's locked. Like, it's like, call it paranoia, but, you never know what's going to go down. So after that, let's see. Sam is back at the house, and it's wrecked because I do believe he told, what was it, Donald or Kyle, that after he left work, he would go check in with the wives of Yuma and Max to let them know what's going on. But it was mentioned that Max's wife is in like Ohio or Nevada with her sister. So Max's wife and daughter, I believe, are safe. So it's not like, they're in any danger at the moment. So from there, he gets home, he finds stuff just all over the floor. Priscilla's in bed, and she says she'll be gone by morning. So he tries to explain what happened. It's like, oh, so this is my fault? And he's like, she tried to seduce me. And long story short, he gets kicked out of the house. So he just leaves because he tries to explain what was going on. And he was indeed in a compromising position because, look, in the time we're in now with the whole Me Too Time's Up movement, a man can just be destroyed without any proof. Like, let's say, if, again, I've always used this comparison, Joseph and Potiphar's wife from the Bible. He didn't lay down with her, and then, she claimed false charges against him, and he was put in jail for years. So let's say, if, I'm not saying Sam should have shoved her or something like that, but it's just a situation where he was in a lose-lose. And should we commend Sam for stopping Victoria before things went further than they did? Absolutely. What if he walked away as soon as he got into the bathroom to detect that something was wrong? Well, he could have been in trouble for his job. It's like he was called to do something and he didn't. There were just so many negative ways. I don't think there was any way Sam could win in that position. I feel like that's the easiest way to, say it. But then you look at it from Priscilla, it's like, well, he asked you like for multiple times to, have sex, but, you said no, and he's only human. So I'm not going to sit up here and just say, well, Sam's a guy. What do you expect? No, it's like, I'm glad that Tyler wrote the story in a way where we could see all angles of this, where honestly, a lot of people are at fault here. Priscilla for not, well, I hate to say this, but let's be honest, fulfilling her wifely duties. Sam for human nature impacting his decision making. And of course, Victoria, it's almost like Adam and Eve, and Victoria is the serpent, even though she was going after Sam's snake. That's the best way to put it. So after that, we got Sharon on the couch. She gets a call from Kareem, and apparently the ad for a new employee at the store has been, followed up on. So I guess Kareem said he'd check in with the person and say that he'll work between us and we'll be good. And remember, it's Dale from Ruthless. Dale from Ruthless is the new pharmacy employee. He noticed that the pregnancy test was missing and the fact that you stole it. And he's like, well, you told me to. Sharon said she's not pregnant, but I don't buy it. Something just doesn't seem right. I think maybe it's a situation where she doesn't want to tell anybody she's pregnant until she figures out what to do, not to mention finding out who the baby daddy is. But I could be wrong about this. But I think Brad and his interrogation of Dr. Ratston on If Loving You Is Wrong, I don't believe you can figure out who the baby daddy is until after the baby is born and there's a DNA or blood test. Correct me if I'm wrong. But aside from that, he just goes into the whole sweet talk. Well, I don't even really want to get into it because these scenes just bore me. It's the same damn thing. And then it's funny because she gets off the phone when Barry tries to come downstairs to apologize, and he's literally just, Barry and Kareem are just both sorry. They give the most empty apologies, and then they go right back to being assholes. So Sharon was right to just agree to just stay on the couch. Then the next morning, it's around 8 a.m. Max and Max and Bobby are up on the patio, and they kind of go over the different options of the plan. And Max calls out Bobby for feeling Lily and saying that, hey, if you have feelings for her, if you love her, it's going to make this job a lot more difficult. Lily comes out on the porch, she's just enjoying the fresh air, drinking the coffee, and she pretty much says, I have a plan. I can go back home and I could be on the inside getting the information we need. Bobby, obviously, with his feelings in the way of his logic, says this is a bad idea. And then Max lets Lily know the situation about how Bobby feels because this is a good idea. And speaking of that, let me just skip over to the next scene between these two. Lily and Bobby sit inside and talk for a little bit and, go over things like feelings, and her going back is the key to their success. And then they end up having, sex in the wild. Yeah. All right. So we go over to Kyle and Donald, and Kyle's getting dressed because, again, it's early in the morning, but he called, I think, that little girl, referencing Ellie, to say that push Donald's day an hour back so he can get a little more rest. And this is one of those scenes where I felt like it just felt dragged on. They know about Diane's location because they tracked her when she went to get her car from the gas station. We don't know exactly where she is because of her phone and whatnot. Basically, Bobby's input helped save her. Excuse me. They know Diane is getting help from somewhere. They can't worry about the Lily thing. Diane takes priority. They can't kill her just yet because the heat is on. It's far too hot of a subject to kill her because remember, during the press conference, she's like, hey, take a look at me. You can see I'm perfectly healthy. So if anything happens to me, be sure to thoroughly investigate this administration. And it's just lovey-dovey, yada, yada, yada. Come back to tonight to finish, continue where we pick up where we left off. I think he almost slightly jealous of Alan, saying that Donald's like, no, Alan's straight. Hey, I was too. So I just feel like, if on the one side, it was interesting to see the more relaxed, playful nature of these two. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I want to get to the Jason shit. I ain't got time for this stuff. So we go over to the next scene, and Priscilla's calling Alonzo. Let me put it this way. Richard said he about to get free to some. I think Priscilla and Alonzo might knock boots at some point. That's what I think. But in any case, she's following up on what's been going on. He lets her know something's off because school buses are outside. So if you hear background noise, that's what it is. Gene never signed out. And he's like, look, Sam's about to come in. You ought to get him involved with this because this is what he does. And she's like, no, why don't you do it? And Alonzo like, is something going on between you two? And then she doesn't want to talk about it. And wait, does this involve the first lady? Why? What does it have to do with the first lady? He, asked to be head of her security and whatnot. What? Oh, that's interesting. So, we go over to Richard's house, and Nancy made Richard breakfast and, ironed his suit again for work, and says, again, it was too soon for him to go back. But Barry comes in and tries to de-escalate the situation. This is the Barry I wish we could see more of. He's level-headed. He's making valid points. It's just very hypocritical for him to be saying what he's saying, considering the way he acts towards people like, Kareem, Sharon, and, the list goes on. But he says, hey, here's this money. Let's get to the bottom of it. And then they all kind of look around at each other like, look, we ain't do it. Who been up in that room? Sharon? And then, I felt bad for Sharon. When Richard turned around and looked at her, it's like, come on, this girl cannot catch a break. And then Nancy's like, look, this shoebox 5 years ago, Ruth, this must be hers money. It's like when you join a cult, that's what you do. You leave everything else behind. And then they try to figure out, well, how could this money have gotten in here? It must have been somebody who broke in and left it before we, while we weren't at home. And then I love how Sharon's like, well, call nosy ass Jody. She probably knows what's been going on. And then when everybody kind of reconvenes, like, Richard's about to go to work. Nancy is I forgot what Nancy's doing. And, Barry's like, I got to go somewhere. Because Sharon's like, well, do you, owe me a apology? No, Barry's like, this is all crazy. Yeah, but it might add up. So don't you think you owe me an apology? I'm not saying, I don't think Sharon should pick Kareem or Barry. But at this point, you see why Barry pushes people away. All right, so then we got Sam at the house eating breakfast. I was a bit surprised at this because when Priscilla came, let me just say again, the actress portraying Priscilla, just the way she looks, like, my God, like she's really portraying a completely different character. So Sam's like, are you going to work? Yes, I am. Do you still plan on killing the first lady? And why are you worried about it? Because you can't tell me that kind of stuff. And then Priscilla's like, well, stop me from going to work. He doesn't do it. So apparently he knows about how Priscilla took all the money out of his accounts, and she says that's only the beginning. So she's pulling a Richard right now. And then we get to the final scene of Hunter dragging the box outside of the room. And I'm just saying, like, damn, how long did it take for him to wrap the body up and whatnot? But it's the next day. I don't know, because apparently Victoria slept like a baby and Hunter is still wearing the same outfit he did from the previous night. So I don't really know. So Jason comes in. Hunter tells the security to leave him be, and he goes, and they try to give him an out. It's like, so Jason, what's going on? Nothing. I've had a long night. I want to go to bed. I want to get some rest. If you don't get your ass back here. So this was going where I thought it was going. I'm like, they're going to make him open that damn trunk. That's what's going to happen. But Hunter's like, no, don't open the trunk. My biggest concern on Hunter's sake is like, because if you open the trunk, the smell is going to be all over the room. Or in the off chance, there might be somebody who comes up to the residency and hears or sees something they shouldn't. A housekeeper doing their job or something. I don't know. I think what Hunter should have said is leave us, but make sure nobody else comes in here until, I say so. I think that would have been a fair way of making sure nobody comes up at the wrong time. So remember, it was established that Hunter had a lot of the surveillance from the residency cut off. So it's unknown if anybody on the security is watching and hearing what's going down at the moment. So basically, he tries to come up with this cover story about Jean trying to kill him and, this and that. And Victoria ain't buying that bull crap because, wait, murder you? Then how come there were bruises around her neck? Yeah, she knows. So basically, it's like, I can't go to prison. It's like, well, you're a murderer, son. And Hunter is like trying to like de-escalate the situation. Like, don't open the trunk. Victoria, don't push him, because she literally goes in on and starts slapping the crap out of him. And then he fights back and chokes her until Hunter intervenes. And it's like, what? Was I going to be your next victim? What number? Third? Second? Fourth? So, yes. Denise, Jean, Maud, and it was almost Victoria. He's a serial killer. What an ending. So, what a freaking episode. Yeah, it had its problems because it did feel slow in some spots. It just felt like we were repeating the same stuff. Kareem and Barry, Sharon dealing with them, the situation with Donald and Kyle. But I just feel like if there was any story that was the thing holding things back, it's definitely the Barry storyline stuff, because at this point, it just feels more appropriate on Ruthless. But I am glad that we're getting more of a merger between Ruthless and the Oval, because, we found out about the money. We found out who killed Denise. Yeah, I'm glad we're actually getting resolution to things that were brought up in season 1. Because, like I said before, the Oval is doing some things right that the haves and the have-nots has been doing wrong for years. So I still stand by my score of an 8 out of 10, and the trailer next week looks amazing. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts on The Fencer, and if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.